Bruce Lee came into the world on November 27, 1940, in San Francisco, inside the Chinese hospital, during what the Chinese zodiac calls the Hour of the Dragon, a time believed to be full of energy and power. His Chinese name was Li Junfan, which roughly translates to return again. His parents gave him that name with the hope that he would one day come back to America to build a future there. Bruce's father, Li Hoi-chuen, was a well-known Cantonese opera performer and actor, constantly involved in the world of theatre and films. His mother, Grace Ho, came from a wealthy and respected family in Hong Kong and had both Chinese and European ancestry. Bruce was the couple's fourth child, born into a family with strong cultural roots and artistic background. When Bruce was only 3 months old, the family moved back to Hong Kong, where he would spend most of his childhood. Life in the city wasn't easy. World War II was unfolding, and Hong Kong was under Japanese occupation, bringing tension, fear, and hardship. But even during such tough times, Bruce's life was far from ordinary. Because of his father's career in the entertainment industry, Bruce was introduced to film sets and the performing world from a young age. He was barely a toddler when he first appeared on screen. By the age of 6, he had already acted in his first film, a Cantonese drama called Golden Gate Girl, which was released in 1941. This early exposure to acting planted the first seeds of what would later become a global legend. Growing up, Bruce Lee was a bright and lively kid, full of energy and often trouble. He had a sharp mind, but he also had a wild streak and a quick temper. Street fights became a common part of his childhood in Hong Kong. His parents, worried about the path he was heading down, wanted to guide his energy into something more disciplined and constructive. At the age of 13, Bruce's life took a major turn when he began learning Wing Chun, a form of Kung Fu, under the guidance of the legendary master Ip Man. But training wasn't easy. Because of Bruce's mixed Chinese and European background, some students at the school refused to practice with him. Still, Ip Man saw something special in Bruce, a fire, a hunger to learn, and arranged for him to train privately with a few senior students. Bruce attended LaSalle College, a Catholic boys' school in Hong Kong. But his frequent fights and lack of focus in class became a problem. He was later moved to St. Francis Xavier's College. There, one of the teachers, Brother Edward, saw Bruce's potential and encouraged him to channel his aggression into boxing. Bruce listened. In 1958, he stepped into the ring and defeated the reigning 3-time champion at the Hong Kong Inter-School Boxing Tournament, a victory he achieved by blending his Wing Chun skills with Western boxing techniques. In the same year, Bruce didn't just make a name for himself in fighting, he also became the Cha-Cha dance champion of Hong Kong. He had memorized over 100 steps and even gave private dance lessons to earn some extra money. His rhythm, precision, and dedication to mastering every move showed just how disciplined he could be when focused. But even as his talents grew, Bruce found himself sinking deeper into trouble on the streets. Street fights turned more dangerous, and he started running into serious issues with local gangs and even the police. His parents grew deeply worried. They saw that Bruce was headed down a risky path and made a difficult decision. They would send him back to the United States in hopes of giving him a safer and more stable future. In 1959, at just 18 years old, Bruce left Hong Kong with only $100 in his pocket and moved to Seattle, Washington. There, he stayed with friends of his family and took a job as a live-in waiter at a restaurant owned by Ruby Chow, a woman who would become an important figure in his early days in America. While working, Bruce didn't give up on his education. He enrolled at Edison Technical School, where he completed his high school diploma, determined to start fresh and build a better life. By 1961, Bruce had taken a big step forward. He enrolled at the University of Washington and chose philosophy as his major. But books weren't his only passion. Around this time, he started teaching martial arts to fellow students, creating his own style which he called Junfan Kung Fu, or Bruce Lee's Kung Fu. What set Bruce apart was his open-mindedness. He didn't believe martial arts should be kept behind cultural walls. He taught anyone who wanted to learn, no matter their race or background. This approach didn't sit well with some traditionalists in the martial arts world, especially those who believed Chinese fighting styles should be taught only to Chinese students. In 1964, Bruce's rising talent got a spotlight moment at the Long Beach International Karate Championships. He performed a demonstration that would go down in martial arts history, showing off his iconic one-inch punch, lightning-fast movements, and incredible control. The crowd was stunned. That same event also brought another life-changing moment. Bruce met Linda Emery, a fellow university student. The two quickly formed a deep connection, and just a few months later, in August 1964, they were married. After leaving Seattle, Bruce made his way to Oakland, California. There, alongside his close friend and student James Yim Lee, he opened his second martial arts school. It was in Oakland that Bruce's thinking around martial arts began to evolve in a big way. He started shaping a new philosophy, one that broke away from strict traditional styles and focused instead on adaptability, freedom, and effectiveness. His approach was clear in his words: use no way as way, have no limitation as limitation. But not everyone appreciated his open-minded style. That same year, Bruce's decision to teach Kung Fu to non-Chinese students sparked tension within the traditional martial arts community. A group of martial artists, unhappy with his methods, challenged him, and this led to a private fight between Bruce and a Kung Fu master named Wong Jack Man. While Bruce came out on top, he wasn't completely satisfied with how the fight went. Instead of celebrating, he turned inward, questioning his own techniques and performance. That moment became a turning point. It pushed him to dig deeper, experiment more, and continue refining what would eventually become his revolutionary approach to martial arts. By 1966, Bruce Lee's incredible martial arts talent finally caught the eye of a TV producer, who offered him the role of Kato in the action series The Green Hornet. Although the show only aired for one season, Bruce quickly gained a strong following, especially among martial arts fans, who were stunned by his unmatched speed, sharp technique, and magnetic screen presence. He went on to make guest appearances in other shows like Batman Ironside and Longstreet, where he continued to impress with his skills. But even with his growing popularity, Bruce struggled to land lead roles in Hollywood. Deep-rooted racism and the belief that an Asian actor couldn't carry a major production kept him on the sidelines, and it left Bruce deeply frustrated. Feeling boxed in, he decided to return to Hong Kong in 1971 and was shocked by the welcome he received. Unknown to him, The Green Hornet had become a massive hit in Asia, where it aired under the name The Kato Show, with Bruce as the star attraction. Soon after his return, he signed a deal with Golden Harvest, one of Hong Kong's leading film studios. His first film with them, The Big Boss, was a sensation. Audiences loved his raw energy and powerful screen presence. The film shattered all previous box office records in Hong Kong and firmly established Bruce Lee as a rising superstar in Asian cinema. In 1972, Bruce followed up with Fist of Fury, a film that once again smashed box office records across Asia. But this movie was more than just action. It struck a powerful chord with audiences. Bruce played a character who fought back against injustice and foreign oppression, which made the film especially meaningful for people living in post-colonial Asia. With his fame rising fast, Bruce began taking more control over his creative work. He launched his next project, The Way of the Dragon, a movie he not only starred in, but also wrote and directed himself. The film was shot in Rome and featured one of the most iconic martial arts battles ever captured on screen. Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris inside the ancient Roman Colosseum. The fight became legendary, and the movie itself turned out to be another major hit. By now, Bruce Lee wasn't just a movie star. He was a global phenomenon. After years of struggle, he had finally earned the respect and fame he had always dreamed of. But Bruce wasn't the kind of person to slow down or settle. He had a bigger vision in mind. He began working on what he considered his most meaningful and personal project yet, Game of Death. In this film, Bruce wanted to express his unique martial arts philosophy through a series of symbolic battles, each fight taking place on a different level of a pagoda, representing both physical and philosophical challenges. But before he could finish it, a major opportunity came knocking. Hollywood reached out with an offer for him to star in Enter the Dragon, a groundbreaking martial arts movie co-produced by Warner Brothers and Golden Harvest. This was the chance Bruce had been waiting for, to lead a Hollywood film on his own terms. He decided to put Game of Death on pause and threw himself into Enter the Dragon. By early 1973, the movie was done, and Bruce had started promoting it both in America and across Asia. But underneath the success and excitement, something didn't feel right. By this time, Bruce Lee had become more than just a movie star. He was a true international icon. After years of struggle, rejection, and hard work, he had finally earned the fame and respect he had always dreamed of. But Bruce wasn't someone who rested on success. He was constantly pushing himself, always looking towards something bigger. With that drive in mind, he began working on what he saw as his most personal and meaningful film yet, Game of Death. The idea was to tell a story that went beyond physical combat. Bruce wanted each fight to reflect a deeper philosophy, with every level of the pagoda representing a different martial arts principle. But while he was in the middle of creating this vision, a major opportunity came his way. Hollywood approached him with an offer to star in a major martial arts film called Enter the Dragon, a groundbreaking collaboration between Warner Brothers and Golden Harvest. Recognizing how big this could be, Bruce decided to pause work on Game of Death and threw himself into making Enter the Dragon. The film was wrapped up in early 1973, and Bruce began promoting it across the United States and Asia. But behind the public excitement and the rising buzz, something didn't feel quite right. In the months leading up to the summer of 1973, Bruce Lee's health had taken a troubling turn. He began experiencing sharp headaches, sudden seizures, and even unexpected blackouts. Then in May, while working on the English dubbing for Enter the Dragon, he suddenly collapsed. He was rushed to the hospital, where doctors diagnosed him with cerebral edema, a dangerous swelling of the brain. Though he recovered enough to be discharged, the danger hadn't passed. On July 20, 1973, Bruce visited the apartment of actress Betty Ting Pei to talk about their next movie project. During their meeting, he mentioned having a headache. Betty gave him a painkiller called Equagesic. Bruce lay down to rest, but tragically, he never woke up. He was just 32 years old, 2 years. After Bruce Lee's sudden passing on July 20, 1973, the world was left stunned and heartbroken. He was young, full of energy, and at the peak of his power, and then, just like that, he was gone at only 32 years old. The news hit like a wave. Across Hong Kong, thousands of fans gathered at the funeral home to mourn. To them, Bruce wasn't just a film star. He was a symbol of pride, strength, and fearless spirit. His unexpected death left many puzzled. The official cause was listed as cerebral edema, swelling of the brain, possibly linked to a reaction from the painkiller Equagesic. But that answer didn't sit well with everyone. Questions were raised. Some believed there was more to the story, maybe something darker. A few suspected foul play. Others thought his strict diet, intense workouts, or traditional herbal remedies might have played a part. As time went on, theories multiplied. There were whispers about enemies in the martial arts world, talk of poison, even rumors of secret plots or ancient curses. But none of these stories were ever proven. What remained was grief, and a sense that the world had lost someone truly rare. Bruce's funeral in Hong Kong drew a crowd of more than 25,000 people. Later, his body was flown to Seattle, where he was laid to rest in Lakeview Cemetery. His friends, including Steve McQueen and James Coburn, carried his casket. His grave was marked with a simple stone, engraved with words that echoed his life's message. Your inspiration continues to guide us toward our personal liberation. When Bruce Lee passed away, Enter the Dragon, his big Hollywood breakthrough, hadn't been released yet. Just 6 days after his death, the film hit theaters and took the world by storm. It made millions globally and opened the door for martial arts cinema to reach audiences across every continent. Bruce had become a global icon. The tragedy, though, was that he never got to witness the impact of the project he had worked so hard to bring to life. After Enter the Dragon, another film, Game of Death, which Bruce had started but never finished, was pieced together and released in 1978. To complete it, producers used stand-ins, old footage, and a reworked storyline. Only a small part of Bruce's original performance remained. Most notably, the climactic fight inside the pagoda, where he wore the now famous yellow tracksuit with black stripes. That sequence, showcasing fights against martial artists from different disciplines, reflected Bruce's core philosophy, that true combat should be adaptable and free of rigid style. Even after his death, the world couldn't get enough of Bruce Lee. But what followed was a strange chapter in film history, something fans later called Bruceploitation. Filmmakers around the world rushed to cash in on his fame by producing low-budget kung fu movies featuring Bruce Lee lookalikes. Actors with names like Bruce Lee, and Dragon Lee starred in these knockoff films. Most of them were cheaply made and lacked the spirit, authenticity, and brilliance that Bruce brought to his work, failing to honor the legacy he left behind. While the world was still mourning Bruce Lee, his wife Linda Lee Cadwell dedicated herself to protecting and honoring his true legacy. She wrote a heartfelt biography called Bruce Lee, The Man Only I Knew, giving people a deeper look into who Bruce really was beyond the screen. That book later inspired the 1993 Hollywood film Dragon, The Bruce Lee Story. At the same time, Linda continued raising their two children, Brandon and Shannon, while working tirelessly to ensure Bruce was remembered not just as a martial artist, but as a thinker, a teacher, and a bridge between Eastern and Western cultures. Bruce's martial arts philosophy, Jeet Kune Do, kept spreading around the world. But it wasn't just a fighting style, it was a mindset. Bruce believed in breaking away from fixed forms and traditional rules. His focus was on what worked, fast, practical, and real. He believed combat should adjust to the situation, the opponent, and the moment. His personal motto said it all: absorb what is useful, discard what is not, and add what is uniquely your own. This message didn't just impact martial artists. It reached athletes, coaches, and thinkers in many areas of life. Bruce also left a lasting mark on how Asians were seen in Hollywood. Before him, most Asian roles were limited to villains, side characters, or overdone stereotypes, but Bruce refused to accept those roles. He brought power, dignity, and complexity to the screen. He wasn't just fighting on camera. He was fighting for respect, representation, and a new image for Asian people in global media. In the years that followed Bruce Lee's passing, more of his personal work began to reach the public. His handwritten notes, training journals, letters, and sketches were carefully compiled and published in books like Tao of Jeet Kune Do and Bruce Lee's Fighting Method. These works gave fans a rare glimpse into his mind, showing not just how he fought, but how he thought. He explored everything from martial strategy and physical training to nutrition, acting, and personal growth. It was clear Bruce wasn't just a fighter, he was a deep thinker with a lifelong passion for learning. But in 1993, heartbreak struck the Lee family once again. Bruce's son, Brandon Lee, had grown up to become an actor and martial artist like his father. He was building a promising career and had landed the lead role in the film The Crow. But during filming, a prop gun accident on set turned deadly. A malfunction caused a real bullet to be fired, hitting Brandon in the abdomen. Despite efforts to save him, he passed away at just 28 years old. The news shocked the world. It felt like history was repeating itself, another rising star from the Lee family taken far too soon. Brandon was laid to rest beside his father in Seattle, and fans across the globe mourned again. Yet Bruce Lee's legacy hasn't faded. It has only grown stronger. In the world of mixed martial arts, MMA, many top fighters still credit Bruce as one of the first to blend different fighting styles into a single, adaptable approach. UFC President Dana White once famously called Bruce Lee the father of MMA. His face and philosophy have become a part of global pop culture, showing up in video games, music, anime, books, documentaries, and movies. Statues honoring him now stand tall in places like Hong Kong, Seattle, Los Angeles, and even Mostar, Bosnia. A lasting tribute to a man whose influence broke borders and continues to inspire people all over the world. Today, Bruce Lee's legacy lives on through the work of his daughter, Shannon Lee. She leads the Bruce Lee Foundation, an organization devoted to carrying forward his philosophy through education, martial arts training, and personal development programs. Over the years, Shannon has authored books about her father's teachings and also helped produce the powerful documentary Be Water, which debuted at the Sundance Film Festival and was later released by ESPN, helping a new generation discover who Bruce Lee truly was. But Bruce's influence reaches far beyond martial arts. His ideas about discipline, self-expression, and living with purpose continue to inspire people in every walk of life, from business leaders and artists to students and those on a spiritual journey. His words have become timeless lessons. One of his most memorable quotes captures that spirit perfectly. "If you love life, don't waste time, for time is what life is made up of." Bruce Lee was only 32 when he passed away, but in that short time he changed the world. His story was never just about how fast he could punch or how high he could kick. It was about pushing boundaries, standing up to stereotypes, and showing what human potential truly looks like when fear is replaced by focus. His legacy isn't just carved in stone, it's alive in hearts and minds all around the world.